morning, everyone. My name is Richard Meyakek, and today I will discuss the chapter 17 that is all about special topics. So before we delve into this discussion, here are the learning objectives. First, we discuss the various special laws affecting the tourism industry. Second, identify situations and problems where these special laws may be applied as a solution. Third, identify some tourism establishments that implement as well as not implement these special laws. So here are the topic outlines. Senior Citizen Law, Laws and Security Anti-Terrorism Law, Consumer Act of the Philippines, RA 7394, April 13, 1992. Cultural Minorities, Protected Areas, Wildlife and Heritage, and Cultural Presentations. Law on the Intellectual Property Rights, Anti-Child Abuse Law, Anti-Prostitution Law, Anti-Pornography Law, Anti-Hijacking Law, Dangerous Drugs Law, Anti-Smoking Law, Anti-Smuggling Law, Law on Violence Against Women and Children, Laws on Human Trafficking, International Law on Tourism, Health Tourism, Tourism Research. So in this chapter, it discusses special topics and special laws that will be useful in managing and operating a tourism-related establishment. So here is the Senior Citizen Law. It is embodied in Republic Act No. 7432, later amended by Republic Act No. 1999. 4. Or the expanded Senior Citizen Act of 2010 that grants senior citizens with various privileges. These include discounts on services, medical care, transportation, and tax exemptions. The law aims to enhance the well-being and dignity of elderly citizens in the Philippines, providing them with financial and social support. So here are the laws of security or anti-terrorism law. It is a significant law in the Philippines aimed at preventing, prohibiting, and penalizing terrorism. It defines acts of terrorism and grants security forces broader powers to combat terrorism, including surveillance, detention, and prosecution of suspected terrorists. The law is controversial with some concerns about potential abuses of power and violations of human rights. It seeks to balance national security with the protection of civil liberties. So the Consumer Act of the Philippines, or the Republic Act No. 7394, known as the Consumer Act of the Philippines, that protects the right of consumers by regulating the sale of goods and services. It aims to ensure the safety and quality of products, fair trade practices, and consumer protection against misleading advertisements or unfair practices. It covers various aspects including product labeling, warranties, and regulation of hazardous substances while promoting consumer education and so cultural minorities, protected areas, wildlife, and heritage and cultural presentation refers to various laws that protect indigenous cultural minorities, natural resources, and cultural heritage in the Philippines. Key legislation includes the Indigenous Peoples' Rights, which recognizes and protects the rights of indigenous people, including the right to ancestral lands and cultural preservation. So, the Law on Intellectual Property Rights, Republic Act No. 8293, known as the Intellectual Property Code of the Philippines, establishes the legal framework for the protection of intellectual property in the country. It includes provisions for patents, trademarks, copyrights, and trade secrets. The law protects creators and investors by giving them exclusive rights to their creations, ensuring that their intellectual property is not used without permission, while also promoting fair competition and innovation. So here's the Anti-Child Abuse Law that is primarily embodied in Republic Act No. 7610, that is against the children abuse, exploitation, and discrimination. It protects children from all forms of abuse and discrimination, including physical, emotional, and sexual abuse. The law mandates strict penalties for perpetrators and sets up preventive measures, rehabilitation programs, and a legal framework for child protection. So here's the anti-prostitution law. So here's the anti-prostitution law that is addressed under various provisions, including Republic Act No. 9208, the Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act on 2003, Expanded Anti-Trafficking in Persons Act of 2012. These laws target prostitution and human trafficking, criminalizing the exploitation of individuals for sexual services. The law seeks to protect victims, punish traffickers, and provide rehabilitation programs for those affected. Anti-pornography law. The anti-pornography law in the Philippines is largely covered by Republic Act No. 9775, the Anti-Child Pornography Act of 2009, which aims to protect children from online and offline exploitation in the form of child pornography. It imposes severe penalties on those involved in producing, distributing, or possessing child pornography. The law also strengthens measures to curb the use of the internet and technology for such illegal activities. Anti-hijacking law in the Philippines is primarily covered under Republic Act No. 6235, which criminalizes the hijacking of aircraft and other forms of aviation piracy. The law provides severe penalties for those involved in hijacking or attempting to hijack an aircraft that aims to ensure the safety and security of passengers and air travel, and it gives authorities special powers to address such threats effectively. Dangerous Drug Acts law is primarily embodied in Republic Act No. 9165, the Comprehensive Dangerous Drug Act of 2002. This law seeks to prevent the illegal use, manufacturing, distribution, and trafficking of dangerous drugs such as narcotics. It establishes strict penalties for those involved in drug-related crimes and mandates the creation of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, or PDEA, to enforce drug policies. The law also focuses on rehabilitation programs for drug users. Anti-smoking law is governed by Republic Act No. 9211, the Tobacco Regulation Act of 2003. The law regulates the sale, use, and advertisement of tobacco products in the Philippines. It prohibits smoking in public places, including schools, hospitals, government offices, and public transport. It also sets restrictions on the display and promotion of tobacco products, aiming to reduce smoking-related health risks and protect non-smoker from second-hand smoke exposure. Anti-smuggling law is primarily revolves around Republic Act No. 10863, the Customs Modernization and Tariff Act. This law seeks to address smuggling activities by improving customs procedures and empowering authorities to catch smugglers and seize illicit goods. It targets goods that enter the country without proper documentation, taxes, or customs duties, affecting local industries and the economy. The law provides severe penalties for those found guilty of smuggling. Law on Violence Against Women and Children. Republic Act No. 9262 protects women and children from various forms of abuse, including physical, emotional, sexual, and economic violence. The law provides mechanisms for legal protection, such as securing protection orders, and mandates penalties for offenders. It also provides support services for victims, including counseling and shelter, to help them recover from the violence they have experienced. So here are the laws on human trafficking, later amended by Republic Act No. 10364, criminalizes human trafficking for various purposes, including sexual exploitation, forced labor, and slavery. It provides for the protection and rehabilitation of trafficking victims, establishes penalties for traffickers, and set up mechanisms to prevent human trafficking activities. The law also collaborates with international organizations to curb cross-border trafficking. So international law on tourism encompasses treaties, conventions, and agreements designed to promote and regulate international travel and tourism. The World Tourism Organization, or UNWTO, sets global standards for tourism practices, ensuring that tourism is economically viable, culturally sensitive, and environmentally sustainable. Countries also cooperate through bilateral agreements that address issues such as visa facilitation, safety, and the protection of tourist rights. It refers to travel for the purpose of receiving medical treatment, wellness services, or healthcare services. In the Philippines, health tourism has been promoted by both public and private sectors through various initiatives aimed at making the country a competitive destination for medical and wellness services. The Department of Tourism collaborates with the Department of Health and other stakeholders to ensure that health tourism follows legal, ethical, and safety standards. Tourism research. Tourism research in the Philippines is essential for understanding trends, challenges, and opportunities within the tourism sectors. This research helps in policy making, strategy development, and resource allocation for tourism promotion and management. The National Economic and Development Authority, Department of Tourism, and academic institutions conduct studies on tourism demand behavior and economic impacts, which guide the development of the country's tourism industry.